I can hear you.
Hello, welcome to Story on the Spot. My name is Jim Heskett, and we're all trying to figure out if we can hear each other. Blovation Getter Done the Third is Mr. Kevin Tumlinson. Yeah, boy, Mr. Nick Thacker. And over here, he chooses violence. Let's hope. What?
Wait a minute. I think you can say Mr. Thacker's name much better than you just said it.
I was kind of hoping for that, actually.
Come on, Jim.
I choose violence, and rounding us all out, the third member of the team.
That'll work.
Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
Much better. I thought you took the easy way out the first time.
I feel validated now. I was going to have to hang up.
Okay.
I think we should start opening every show with each of us just asking if the others can hear us. Just every show.
And me cutting off Kevin with the with the intro was supposed to be funny, but I thought that was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty funny. That's a win. At least bad.
I have now decided, though, I'm going to start my own thriller-based improv show, so that we have to change the opening cards for this show, so that we're no longer the only.
The first and only. I'll change to. Then it would be the first and only good thriller fiction improv show.
I thought it was going to be with the second best thriller improv.
Second best thriller improv show.
That's what we should do, and then make people find the first best.
Exactly.
Where's the first one? I don't know. You gotta find it. All right, welcome to Story on the Spot, everyone. This is the world's, at least this week, the world's first and only thriller fiction improv game show, until Kevin burns these bridges by starting his own competing thriller fiction.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's probably coming soon, everybody. So, so last week's winner was Mr. Kevin Tomlinson.
What? This is impossible.
I would hope
for sure Nick won.
I was hoping so.
Nick tried real hard, but he missed a round, so there wasn't a whole lot of hope there. All right, so if you're viewing, here's what you're going to do. I am going to display some story pitches for these guys, and it's a little distracting right now because Kevin and Nick both have ceiling fans that my eyes keep wanting to look over there.
I'm fine. I have epilepsy now. I have epilepsy. I'm going to start seizing. Thanks, guys.
So, viewer, you are going to watch each pitch, vote for which one you like by comment for each round, and then next week you can tune in to see the winner. So, if you want to know how Kevin won, you can go back and watch last week's episode.
The key was bloviating.
And today's bonus word is bumfuzzled, being confused, perplexed, or flustered, or to cause confusion. So bumfuzzle, bumfuzzled, bumfuzzling, bumfuzzlation. These would all be acceptable versions of the word. All right. All right. Here's what we're going to do. This is round one, and this is called Eat Yourself. Who can tell me which TV show that joke is stolen
from?
Parks and Rec.
Nice. Well done. Eat yourself.
Good job, Kevin. I knew I liked you. I liked Kevin.
It's not from, it's based on Parks and Rec. So I didn't answer because the question asked was what's it actually from, but it was a trick question.
I just want to say Ron Swanson is my spirit animal.
You both lose the game. I get a point for that.
Okay, here is our first pitch. The Design Museum in London has featured a DIY meal kit containing steaks that could be grown from a diner's own human cells. Developers of the Alpha Steak envision that an individual will be able to harvest cells from their own cheek and feed them with serum derived from donated blood that has expired. After about 3 months, RA is holding up a Ron Swanson Funko Pop. Nice. After about 3 months, the steaks would be fully grown. People think that eating oneself is cannibalism, which technically this is not, said Grace Smith, one of the designers.
Wow.
So our first story,
silence.
People can grow steaks from their own DNA and then eat themselves. So who would like to be the first to tackle this story and tackle this pitch and give us a story based on this?
I will take this on, though I am quite bumfuzzled over the premise. Okay, so there is a super secret organization out there that is running the world. What they've discovered is they don't have to take over the whole world all at once. They don't have to conquer people all at once. What they have to do is aggregate little victories a bit at a time. And they know that if they can turn people into cannibals, that will be a small victory toward their conquering of the world and enslaving the human race. So they have put a lot of money behind this program. But in addition, it's also about refining the human race, homogenizing them so that we are easier to program and control. So this is all about ultimately mind control, culture control. It's all about actually reshaping humanity into what they want us to become. So this is a nefarious plot from a vicious, intelligent, all-powerful secret order that is not bumfuzzled by the world.
Those guys sound like a bunch of jerks, Kevin.
End of sentence. Story pitch complete.
Okay, Kevin, Nick, you are both looking perplexed.
I can go. So I think that Kevin is on the right track, but the problem is he's not looped in enough. He doesn't actually know what's happening.
Because I've been eating my own cheek for a while.
He's aware that
I actually eat my own cheek cells like all the time, along with some tongue cells.
So the real story is that it's not just this shadowy Illuminati type organization that's pulling all the strings. If you go high enough, there's always one person, and in this case, the one person is a scout, an advanced scout from an alien race. Okay, and they have come to Earth, and their goal on all the planets that they conquer is to turn us all into a hive mind. Right, so they dumb down television and they dumb down the media and they dumb down all the things, the books and everything that we have. And they're trying to get everyone as vapid as possible, just completely bumfuzzled by everything that pops into in front of their eyes. And so what this scout is doing is he has the lab making the meat with people's DNA, but what they're also doing is slipping alien DNA into it, right? And so the more that we eat of this alien DNA, the more that we become like them until we reach a point where we're basically, resistance is futile, right? And we can't defend ourselves and we can't stand up for ourselves. And it's at that point that the aliens will land and take over the Earth with zero fight. So that's what this is.
All right, thank you, R.A. McGee.
I have a new game for you to insert, Jim, and it's similar to we need a whole round robin approach to these, like a one up. We can call it one up. So he just one upped my concept. Now, if Nick one ups his concept, then everyone. I don't know how we determine the winner on that. Well, let's workshop that.
Okay, we'll take it under consideration.
Well,
all right, Nicholas.
I've got good news, Kevin. My story is kind of like RA's story, but a little bit better. Because you see what's actually happening here is a classic case of there it is. Oh yeah, screenshot that. Is a classic case of advanced mutated prions getting into the bloodstream. Now, I know you're thinking, not another advanced mutated prion getting into the bloodstream story, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're talking about. Don't be bumfuzzled. We're going to get into it, okay? Here's the deal. Researcher at Alpha Steak Incorporated has actually discovered that the human ancestry has basically developed is evolved from this prion mutating in a previous iteration, a previous hominid way back 70,000 years ago, or whatever. And so this prion took hold, mutated us into what we are today, and then through human ingenuity, chemical stuff, we were able to evolve that back out once the Homo sapien was completely finished, if you will. He's unhappy with the way humanity has turned out, and he's decided to fix it. And the only way to fix it, he says, is to completely reverse that human process. We're dealing with overpopulation. We're dealing with all kinds of problems here. And so he's developed a way to re-inject this prion, or to recreate this prion. And if he re-injects it into any human, that human becomes barren, or any child they produce either will not survive, or if it does, it'll be mutated with this new prion, thus spreading the gene, effectively reversing the Homo sapien process back to what we were before, 70,000 years ago. Now, in order to make this happen faster, he's started a company that will grow these steaks out of people, but that used blood that he's talking about. I don't know if that raised a red flag for anyone else, pun intended, but yeah, it's got that prion in there. And so you inject it with this prion and then you eat it, literally putting the prion in your body and beginning the process where you reverse humanity. Now you'll live, but your offspring won't. And if any kind of a sexual transmission, that kind of thing will spread this prion. So what we've got here is this awesome trilogy of books, where the first one we discover this. The second one, we realize the only people actually willing to do this are these crazy, like super, super out there hippie liberal type people who even know that there's a design museum in London, because no one else does. And they're the only ones who would even attempted this. And so book 2 becomes this battle between these super liberal, crazy hippie people and these crazy right-wing conservative people who are like, we're not going to ever eat ourselves. You guys are nuts. And then book 3 is a war between them when they realize that the human race is going to die. And so that's basically how it all ends. Everyone's bumfuzzled, wondering which side everyone else is on.
And of course, Nick has to politicize cannibalism, just like always.
Hey, I didn't politicize those 2 words. Politics did. Don't blame me, bitches.
If there was one
humanity at stake.
There you go.
Nice. And I don't know what a prion is, but it sounds like something they try to upsell you when you buy a car, like undercoating.
Ooh, it is. It's the Toyota Prion.
Toyota Prion. Great
it's a
fuel
folded protein.
Economy. Yeah.
It's a super dangerous folded protein that can't be stopped.
Nice. Okay, so round 2. This is Puff Pass. So the rules are someone is going to start with this pitch, take the story wherever you want, and then say pass and pick someone else to continue. And then the story ends just when it feels natural. So this is a little bit like one-upping. Feel free to one-up each other all you like. Here's our pitch.
Lisa. Okay.
In a small town in Texas, a 10-year-old boy is the only one who knows about a coming foreign invasion. And while you guys are thinking about that for a second, let me remind everyone. So we just finished our first round, and like Lisa Badger did, you can go in and vote. You don't have to be as opinionated as Lisa was on that one, but you can still go in and vote.
Nick's was too good, too well thought out, too well plotted. I have to vote for something less good.
These guys couldn't have had their pitches without my pitch, so I Should win that round by default.
Kevin is claiming seed privilege.
Yeah. Kevin walked so we could run. Thanks, Kevin.
Standing on the shoulders of giants over here.
I got a pitch to start this thing off. If we're gonna go with this thing. So a very true story in the world right now is the fact that Chinese companies, which is essentially the Chinese state, is buying up land in Mexico, and they're partnering with the cartels to bring them fentanyl in. And as a kind of a bonus of their working relationship, they're starting to mass large, I don't want to say bases because that's wrong, but big buildings and stuff that are owned by the communist state down in Mexico. And so I think that our hero, the little 10-year-old, is one of these kids who lives in right across the border from Juarez, right? And so he's just running and he's playing every day. He's just a little kid. He's having fun. Well, one day he runs into a warehouse, and the warehouse is empty, but he's inquisitive. So he looks around and he finds a trap door, and he opens the trap door and he drops into it, and it's a tunnel back to the other side of Mexico. And Nick's going to tell you what happens in the tunnel.
I can't hear anything.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I knew I should have went with Kevin. I knew I should have. I tried to go Nick.
Nick got his prion scrambled.
So Kevin's going to tell us what happens when our hero jumps into the Mexican-bound tunnel. Okay.
So, like all young
Hold on, I don't
Texas
understand
boys,
what's happening. If you can hear me,
we can hear you, Nick. Can you hear us? All right. Like all young Texas boys growing up who live in bumfuzzled
like a replay of
Egypt.
last week.
Son of a bitch.
Hello.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay.
I muted Nick for you.
He stepped on my joke. Who live in bumfuzzled Egypt. That was a joke. Okay, so anytime he finds a secret passage, he's going to take it. So as he creeps along in this tunnel, and he's kind of moving along, and of course he hears up ahead some chatter, and it is people, coyotes. Thank you, coyotes who are actually sneaking people and product under the border. So he hides out as best he can, and as they're passing, he has some passive knowledge of Spanish, and he hears a few things, a few words, and kind of picks up on this notion that we are about to suffer a Chinese invasion. So he rushes after the coyotes pass. He hangs out for a bit, and then he rushes out and finds the closest authority figure he can to take this on. And it just has to be a bumbling sheriff who's only in town, who's only been elected because he used to be a police officer in a major metro area, and now all he really wants to do is spend his days fishing. So here in bumfuzzled Egypt, it is a nice, quiet, easy town. So he doesn't think he has to do anything, and now he has to deal with this pending invasion, and that's where Nick and whatever helicopter he's in comes in. Go ahead, take it away, Nick. Sky high.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about
doing
right
out there in bumfuzzled Egypt.
Well, Kevin,
Nick, it sounds like you're in a helicopter. There's a lot of
the 101.
Well, you won't let me turn my fan on. Can I turn my fan back on? Damn it! That's all I want. The fan is quiet. The AC is not. So your choice, Jim. I'm not going to sit here and sweat for you.
Oh wow. Okay. So I guess the round's over.
That's what she said. I'm not going to sweat for you.
Okay.
Asshole.
Tilt your camera.
Oh, hey. Yeah, that reminds me. I made this new graphic after last week because it's a live show and I'm not able to bleep you guys out. So if this comes up
Because you're
afterwards,
not a professional. If you were a professional, you'd figure out how to do it.
Nick is straight out of Hawaii.
Wow.
Straight out of Hawaii.
All right. I guess we're done with that round. So let's move on.
All right.
To our intermission. Does anyone have any breaking news or anything they
I was
want to
kind of getting into
promote
that
this week?
story too. Breaking news.
It was going to be good. It was going to be one of Get Her Done's cousins is the sheriff in that
helicopter. Yes.
I have some news for the show. Story on the Spot now has a separate YouTube channel. Before it was all in one place, lumped in with my stuff, but now it's got its own separate YouTube channel. And so if you're interested in following the show on YouTube, then I will put a link in the show notes and a link on Facebook if you'd rather go watch it on YouTube. Anybody else?
I got breaking news. I won round 2, according to Lisa.
Okay.
Yeah, I see that comment there, but
how do What?
Recount.
All right. Okay.
I see a vote for me.
It's the sympathy vote, you know.
Corruption in this.
I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a sympathy vote. It's a vote.
It's a sympathy
I'm taking
vote,
this all
you
the
know.
way to Supreme Court.
It's like, you guys ever seen those videos where the basketball players are playing and then like the little kid with no leg comes out to play and they all just kind of like take it easy on him and they help him and they lift him up to score and stuff. That's why Lisa's voting for you. You're the kid with no leg.
Man,
She's taking it easy on you.
ouch. I think we should go ahead and move on to our round 3 before you guys kill each other.
Do I get to announce my announcement thing or not? Do I get to?
Yeah. What about my book I just released 2 days ago? I'll let Kevin announce mine.
Go ahead. Nick had a book release 2 days ago. What was
I had a book release. That's it. Nope, I'm done.
There we go. Go Google Nick Thacker book release.
Go find my book.
Yeah. If last time's any indication, you don't even remember the name, so
I don't know the name actually. It's something. It's a sword. No, the Napoleon. It's something Napoleonic. Go find it. It's on Amazon.
I have there is a promotion going on with me and a whole bunch of other authors called 12 Books of Christmas, and you can find it at bit.ly/12 books. Was it 12 Books Christmas? Yes, 12 Books Christmas. bit.ly/12 Books Christmas.
Okay.
All my Christmas themed books.
Okay.
And now that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Kevin.
I didn't even wait around.
Okay.
I'll try to send you the link.
Here is our thankfully final round of the day. This is round 3, and it's called Moose Licker. Do not let moose lick your car, say the flashing electronic signs along roads in Jasper, Alberta National Park, where park spokesman Steve Jones said moose are obsessed with salt. They usually get it from salt lakes in the park, but now they realize they can also get road salt that splashes onto cars. And so who would like to be the first to tackle this story?
Well,
I got something here. Oh, go ahead.
No, you first, sir, please.
Okay, all right. So what this guy, Steve Jones, is a spokesperson. What he's got information from his team that there's a lot of crime happening in Jasper National Park because it's kind of off the beaten path. Obviously most American agencies are focused on Mexico being kind of the route drug runners take to get into the country. Well, drug runners have found that it's not really any more expensive necessarily to go on a boat all the way around, jump up to Canada, and then come down through the north because it's just far less patrolled. And so what they've realized is that moose have been stomping all these drug runners and keeping them out of the park, basically preventing them from getting into the United States. And they've been doing a really good job at it because they're realizing that the moose not only can smell the humans, but they can kind of sense that the humans are easy targets, and the moose are kind of coming in like little Moosikazes and just like crushing over these drug running Mexicans from coming south. And so they've sort of like tried to weaponize these moose as best they can, like by trying to kind of corral them into certain areas they know the drug runners are going to be at. And it's this kind of weird secret like operation going on. I'm explaining it to you guys and you're laughing like it's not even real. So it's almost unbelievable how they're able to do this with these mice. And so it bumfuzzled them, but they figured out finally that the mice that weren't able to be as effective were sedated almost because they'd had too much salt. The salt kind of tends to make them feel sated, and they just kind of lay down and watch the drug runners walk by them. And so they really want you to not feed the moose, but they really want the moose to not come and like lick your car because there's salt all over it, and it's going to sedate them, and it's going to kill their weapons program, their weapons moose defense faculty. I'm working on an acronym for that, but it'll have one before the end of the show. So spokesperson Steve has not been given all this information. He's just told, hey, you need to have people stop licking the car because the drugs are getting into the United States.
Thank you, Nick. All right, Kevin.
One up that, guys. One up that.
So, if anyone who's ever seen the Christmas movie, knows that in extreme cold temperatures, licking metal makes your tongue stick to the metal. So what's actually happening here is there is this super secret organization that is trying to conquer Canada specifically with an army of mutated moose. And what they are doing is luring moose to these cars so that their tongues will kind of suck to them so that they're easier to capture. So they, as the moose lick the cars, the tongues stick, along comes the people trying to capture them. They heat up the car a little and get the moose and mutate the moose. And now Canadians are faced with this army of mutated moose storming down their city streets, taking people out left and right, which is a bumfuzzling thing to see in the Great North.
Bumfuzzling thing to see.
I got to get those secret words in there as often as possible because apparently nobody's ever going to vote for me.
You just won last week, man.
I know. This is how I won.
All right, Reginald Applethwaite McGee.
Yes, sir.
Bring us home. Story number 3.
So, what we have here is a tale that's literally thousands of years old. Moose are huge fans of salt, but no one really knows why they're huge fans of salt. And it's actually a story that goes back to the First Nations people in Canada, the indigenous people that were there, back in the day. And what happened was there were two tribes that were warring with each other, right? As people were wont to do back in the day. And, one tribe beat the other one. Well, the shaman for the victorious tribe, he took pity on the other tribe and said that he didn't want to, have his warriors wipe them out to extinction. So he put together a very complicated spell with many, many pieces. And the binding agent was the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis. And so he managed to turn all of the opposing tribe into moose, right? All the men, all the women, all the children into moose, right? And that's where moose came from. And the only problem is, because they're humans, still deep down inside, their physiology doesn't really work the same way that your classic ruminant does, with the multiple stomachs to get as much nutrition out of the herbivore diet as they can. So they're always running low on electrolytes, and so that's why they're always constantly seeking out salt, and they're seeking out salt, and they're seeking out salt. And that's a trait that's only unique to the moose that are in that area of Canada, because they are descended from the original humans that were turned by the shaman. So that's what I think we're dealing with.
Also, it's harder to export Gatorade up there due to treaties.
It's true, man. NAFTA doesn't let that happen.
NAFTA said no more free-flowing Gatorade. That well is going to run dry.
Right.
The great Gatorade Accords of 2000 prevent the import and export, especially lime flavored.
Yeah, that's the awful flavor.
So thank you for watching. You can still vote by comment, even if you're not watching live, even if you're watching the show after the fact. And make sure you visit storyonthespot.live, when you're lonely in between, because there's lots of fun stuff there. Who has some parting words of wisdom for us today before we hit the end of broadcast button?
I would just like to get some of Nick's pity votes since, hey, look, Nick's doing mime.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hey, you know what? Next week's show would be on December 24th. So we're going to have a little chat after the show about what our plans for next week are. I'm not sure if we're going to be do a Christmas Eve show or not, but we will look for something posted in the Facebook group with an update about what's going on next week. And we will see you soon.